Hello and a warm welcome to the program. I'm Melinda Akinlami. Our focus is on the South today, but first our top stories. At least one person has been confirmed dead after a mining pit gave way in Niger State. Authorities say efforts are ongoing to rescue about 30 miners trapped in the rubble, but efforts have been hampered by threats from armed bandits operating in the region. Dozens of miners employed by a local mining company were working late on Sunday in a huge pit in the village of Galkogo in Shiroro district when it fell in and trapped them. The Kano State High Court has granted an order to serve the national chairman of the All Progressives Congress, Mr. Abdullahi Ganduje, and other defendants in a high-profile bribery and corruption case through substituted means. The state government has brought a 10-count charge against Mr. Ganduje, his wife Hafsat Umar, and several associates alleging bribery, misappropriation, and diversion of public funds amounting to billions of naira. During the proceedings, the counsel for the sixth respondent, Mr. Jumo, challenged the appearance of the lead prosecution counsel, Yau Adamu, arguing that a specific person had been granted the fiat to appear in the case. The ad hoc committee set up by the Kaduna State House of Assembly to investigate all financial loans and contracts awarded under the former administration has submitted its report to the House. The chairman of the ad hoc committee, Mr. Henry Zachariah, says most of the loans obtained under the El Rufai administration were not used for the purpose for which they were obtained, while in some cases, due process was not followed in securing them. The committee has recommended the investigation and prosecution of the former governor, Nasir El-Rufai, and some of his indicted cabinet members by security and anti-corruption agencies for abuse of office through the award of contract without due process, diversion of public funds, and money laundering. The managing director of the Nigeria Deposit Insurance Corporation, Mr. Bello Hassan, has disclosed that the total bank deposits at Heritage Bank stands at 650 billion naira, while its loan portfolio is over 700 billion naira. He has assured customers that the NDIC looks forward to ensuring the loan repayment within the next 6 months. Mr. Hassan says all depositors are currently being verified for onward payment of insured benefits of 5 million naira, while depositors with insured deposits above 5 million naira will be paid upon the sale of the bank's assets. There are about 116 branches of Heritage Banks across the country, and total depositors is 2.3 million, with 99% of them having total balances less than 5 million naira. The Cross River State Governor, Mr. Basio too, has commissioned several road projects in Calabar metropolis to boost business activities, serve the people, and grow the economy. Commissioning the projects at different locations across the state, Governor Otu explains that the infrastructural overhaul is intended to encourage businesses to succeed at different levels and provide good roads for tourists and carnival attendees.
Calabar, the Cross River State capital, boasts of a serene environment and motorable roads in the metropolis. Governor Basio Tu's administration says it is poised to deliver on its campaign promises by ensuring that the people's immediate needs are met. The construction and rehabilitation of several road projects have been undertaken. This symbolic commissioning signifies the administration's commitment to meet the needs of the people.
In the name of the Father, in the name of the Son, in the name of the Holy Spirit. Coming into office, we look at the opportunities
we look at the different variables. We look at the level of poverty, security. We look at the deficits both in terms of infrastructure, education, health, and of course the gaps were so huge. And we made up our mind that the era of abandoned projects is over. And that whatever public funds have been invested in any project, our task is to turn it around. So we decided immediately to commoditize our environment ethically, to make sure there's a proper integrated structure that will promote our economy and also enhance the dignity of living and to give our people hope for a greater tomorrow.
The Commissioner for Works, Pius Edet, provides details on the projects.
This area, if you come here at night, is lightened. In fact, you won't believe if you drive here at night. You will just imagine if you're in the Western society. You don't need to travel anywhere, because the reason why our people travel to the Western society is because of infrastructure. And this is going to develop the tourism potential of Cross River State. By the time we finish this road, the second phase that we are taking to technical runabout, you don't need to travel to London again.
While residents and community leaders praise the governor for this feat.
I should commend you, His Excellency, for keeping the flag flying high for Cross River State. He's a straight talker, and he said we should tell you and your government that he is indeed pleased with the work you have done so far.
While counting the transformation achieved in the first year of Governor 2 in office, residents are enthusiastic that the state will become the envy of many in the years to come.
Nigerians, especially young people, have been urged to take care of themselves, avoid substance abuse, stress and pressure in order to maintain a good mental health. This advice was given at a one-day mental health summit organized for youths in Delta State in partnership with the Niger Delta Development Commission, NDDC. According to experts at the summit, external and internal factors are responsible for mental health challenges, and a regular checkup will go a long way.
According to the World Health Organization, around 40 million people are affected by mental illness, with depression and anxiety disorders being the most prevalent among the youth. In the Niger Delta region, the people in the riverine areas are not left out, especially with the environmental hazards associated with oil and gas exploration activities as it affects their daily living. This event, tagged Mental Health Summit 2024, is one of the ways government is using to engage the Niger Delta youth through enlightenment on the dangers of mental disorders and how it can be avoided. The summit, executed in partnership with the Niger Delta Development Commission, has as its theme, Breaking the Silence, Uniting for Mental Wellness. And the lead speaker, Dr. Sarah Uwa, bears her mind on how mental illness, if not checked, can lead to suicide.
As we know, when the bedrock is shaky, what can you say much about the house that is built upon such shaky foundations? Of course, your guess is as good as mine. So suicide is a global and serious public health concern. This is because it leaves a long-lasting, devastating effect, not just to the dying person, but to the bereaved families, the communities, and the society at large.
The conveners blame the increase in mental disorders on lifestyle factors, including diet, physical activity, sleep patterns, and overall self-care practice. However, they insist on keeping the youth mentally balanced for meaningful contribution to society.
This is not just a Nigerian phenomenon. The need to tackle an issue that is disturbing the entire world has become very necessary. And it's a thing of praise that the NDDC considered this necessary to start sensitizing people about their own mental health And that is the basic reason this is here.
The NDDC, the MD-NDDC, and the Niger Delta Development Commission decided to support this program, to go around to the region to assist them in advocacy on the need to take care of your health in order not to lead to mental breakdown and mental illnesses.
Others attribute mental disorders among the youth to the intake of illicit drugs.
Most of the people who are suffering from negative health situation, mental situation, did not arise overnight. It's a accumulation of what they have taken or not taken.
This initiative by the NDDC and the youth of the Niger Delta has been described as a welcome development. But more needs to be done to further drive the message to every other Nigerian youth.
Suicide itself means.
A team from the Akwa Ibom State government has paid a condolence visit to victims of a flooding incident in a Kwet housing extension, which claimed the life of a retired director of the State Universal Basic Education Board, Mr. Anselm Etuk. The delegation was led by the Deputy Governor, who also chairs the State Emergency Management Agency and the Interministerial Flood Disaster Management Monitoring and Coordinating Committee. She has appealed to victims to leave the buildings to a safer place and reiterates that the state government remains committed to mitigating flood disasters.
We have the design of the estate indicating where the water channels should be taken to. I'm very certain immediately the government of Akwa Ibom State will move in to do something about the estate. I've gone around, I've seen all the buildings, all the houses that are affected. I want to emphasize and advise our people, please, when you want to build with the mindset for the future. Those who built these homes, I know as at that time, there was no road construction, they didn't know the level and the buildings were below the ground level. Now that government has stepped in to do construction, the road is raised and so automatically it affects the building. But where we have good drainage, I think that can be taken care of. So when we are building, raise your building. Akwa Ibom State is a rain area and prone to flood like that. Raise it so that in future, if government development in terms of construction of roads will come, it will not affect such a structure.
Welcome back. The Bayelsa State government says it's taking proactive steps to ensure that residents do not experience the devastating impact of flooding. A committee has been set up to brainstorm and formulate strategies to reduce the effect. Members of the Flood and Erosion Mitigation Committee say they have executive approval to execute their plans. They are giving residents of Yenagoa, the Bayelsa State capital, the heads up to begin clearing blocked drains before the rain gets really heavy.
Erosion and flood are twin disaster. So we have to let him know that we are not only talking about flood, we are also talking about erosion. Centers we've been able to visit, and what measures we need to put in place, we let His Excellency know about it. These are the few things we really discussed, and we had an agreement. And for Yenagoa particularly, the flood measure, which we have to mitigate it, we need to do it 3 times a year, minimum of 3 times, so that our channels will be open to swallow any water coming from the rain to really cause devastation to our people. Our plan was to start from about March, when the first rains are coming, so that by this time we should have been on the second phase to be able to keep them still open, so that we can now see whether there's any other thing apart from rain that is creating this problem. But if we do it for 1 year, I think everybody will be happy that the flood we used to see. We will not see it that much in Agua.
Let's quickly give you more updates on the collapsed mining site in Niger State. Details just reaching us says 7 people have been rescued from that site so far after an emergency response team was deployed by the federal government to the mining site in Galadima, Koro, Shiruru local government area. And that's according to a statement from the Minister of Solid Minerals Development, Mr. Dele Alake. It adds that the government is committed to conducting a thorough investigation into the underlying causes of the disaster to avert a recurrence. Earlier, the spokesman for the Niger State Emergency Service Agency, Mr. Hussein Ibrahim, confirmed that about 30 people were trapped beneath the rubble as rescue efforts continued. He also mentioned that 1 death has already been recorded. It's a developing story, and we'll bring you more updates as soon as we get them. The Chief of Air Staff, Air Marshal Hassan Abubakar, has pledged improved air surveillance for maritime security operations in Edo State. He made a commitment during a courtesy visit to Governor Godwin Obaseki at the government house in Benin City, the state capital. He said the Nigerian Air Force 107 Maritime Group Formation in Benin has the capacity to deal with the threat of insecurity around the waterways. On his part, Mr. Obaseki said the state needs all the help it can get from the Air Force at this time due to the increasing activities of bandits in the coastal areas.
Benin is today host to one of the most important operational units in the Air Force, and that is the 107 Air Maritime Group. The group is primarily tasked with the responsibility of maritime air surveillance of Nigeria's maritime domain in concert with Nigerian Navy, Joint Task Forces, and other maritime security agencies. The 107 Air Maritime Group serves as a formidable deterrent against sea-based threats, providing aerial surveillance and security for our nation's vast coastline and rich marine resources. Its strategic location in Benin enables rapid response to the Gulf of Guinea to provide security for offshore oil platforms, sea lines of communications, and fishing activities. These efforts also foster regional cooperation and strengthen our nation's position as a leader in maritime security in the West African sub-region.
We have a few challenges which we spoke about, and we're going to be calling on you. And this one that relates to our maritime, border, particularly the Obia River axis, where, as a brigade commander, I will inform you, we've been having a running battle with bandits and terrorists in the last few months. We have people who, using the Obia River, bringing arms and are engaged in all sorts of nefarious activities, from illegal logging into imposing, taxes on local communities and illegal occupation of our forests. We will need quite a bit more surveillance on that axis, and we'll be letting the AVM on the know and the specifics. So whatever surveillance support that we can get to support the activities of the brigade and the DSS, we really appreciate.
Undoubtedly, Nigeria's most ambitious transport infrastructure project yet since 1960, and that's the Lagos-Calabar Coastal Highway, which continues to spark debates and controversies across strata. In this next report, our correspondent Kelly Giga x-rays the views of residents, the government, and policy analysts in Calabar, where the project is expected to terminate.
It's a rainy day in Calabar but we are on the streets. Our exact location is the Goldie by Marian area here in Calabar, and we're here to sample the views and perspective of Cross Riverians about the construction work ongoing about the Lagos-Calabar Coastal Superhighway. Come with me.
If there is a political will, I feel it can be done, keeping to time frames and then meeting up with targets as per the time frame. But if not, it will be one of those projects that, we've heard so many things in Nigeria. We bring up good projects, good total plan, but implementation, zero.
It's not a bad idea. It's a good idea, but it's too exorbitant for the times. For 15 trillion, it's too exorbitant for the times. People are complaining. Shanties are being broken, houses are being scattered. Not everybody is getting compensation. I think the government has a good intention, but the cost of the project and the time. Why should we go into 15 trillion naira super project now? When civil servants are talking of high salaries, unemployment is at its highest level. Poverty is everywhere.
It's a very good idea if only the government will embark on the project. Because last administration, they wanted to do a train route. And up till date, we have not been able. Sure, there was nothing like any project.
Well, it's a welcome idea, but it's not all that welcome because one, the coastal way is not when people are hunger, they enjoy the coastal way. It's the living that enjoy any product, any development the government is making.
President Bola Tinubu called the highway a symbol of hope, unity, and prosperity for Nigerians when he flagged it off from the Lagos end in May. But despite the hype around the project, some residents of Calabar, where it terminates, appear to be unaware of it.
So have you heard anything about the Lagos-Calabar Coastal Way? What do you think?
No. I'm hearing it for the first time.
You've never heard anything about the Lagos-Calabar Coastal Way?
No.
Awareness will come soon enough as the road passes through neighbors Akwa Ibom, Bayelsa, Rivers, Delta, at the south end, linking the southwestern states of Ondo, Ogun, and back to Lagos, opening up new communities along the way.
Cross Riverians are elated, and we're quite expectant that that policy would open up the economy of Cross River State. Cross River State is quite a promising economy with a lot of prospects. But the fact that the road network hinders our connectivity over time. So the coastal highway, it's a well thought out program.
I think the road is a good thing for not just Cross River State, all the coastal states that the road will go through. America's development started by road constructions, right? There are major assets that in some places is even one of the features that they put in almost all their promotional materials at their coastal highways. Some people will say, why don't we fix the old existing roads and all of that? But the existing roads have their own economic impact in the country. The coastal road has a different economic impact. It's not only going to favor trade in the country, it's also going to support the inter-Africa trade agreements being done by about 55 countries.
The commissioners suggest simultaneous construction from both ends of the highway.
Our reservation is that we're hopeful that this time around going forward, it will be given the impetus that it deserves. But we're quite elated and we're quite expectant, and we're looking forward to get the derivatives that are coming with that.
A lot of things have been told to us in the past, promises made and never met. So until we see a chunk of the population would like to see things happening before they believe they will happen, right? But so the perception on the streets is this real? Why are we starting the road from one end of the spectrum? Why are we not starting from both ends, right? People have those feelings, those perceptions, those concerns.
Most controversies around the 700-kilometer coastal highway have been centered on demolition of structures along its path, as well as misconceptions about the funding model. But the federal government is optimistic that these opinions will change with the staggering benefits it is expected to bring. Kelly Egiga, Channels Television News.
The Nigerian Navy has reiterated its commitment to a peaceful and mutually beneficial relationship with its host communities, especially in Rivers State. This was made known by the executive officer of the Forward Operating Base in Bonny, Rivers State, during a medical outreach organized for residents. The outreach, which took place at the Women's Hall in Coal Beach, Bonny Island, was organized to bring some medical relief to the community. That's the program today. Thank you so much for watching. I'm Melinda Akinlami.